ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Talkin' Shop, a conversation with educational leaders. My name is Mike Randolph, and I'm the proud principal of Leesburg High School, and I am joined by my co-host, Martin Aptuck, the proud principal of Middleburg High School. What's up, Martin?
What's going on, Mike? How are we doing today?
Doing very well as we're wrapping up this summer. We are joined today by an absolutely amazing leader, but more importantly, one of the best people I know, which is Mrs. Carolyn Hayward, the proud principal of Wilkinson Elementary School.
Dr.
Carolyn Hayward. My apologies. Again, it's been a couple years since I've been there. So, yes, Dr. Carolyn Hayward, the proud principal of Wilkinson Elementary School in Clay County. How's your summer going so far?
Hey, it is going great, and I am so honored to be here to be invited in this format by such educational studs such as yourself. My summer's going great. It's going fast. The year we talk about how the school year goes so fast, and we're like, oh yeah, summer, and then the summer just whizzes by. There's so many things to do, so I'm just hanging in there and rocking and rolling, trying to get ready for the start.
Educational Studs was one of our names we had at our workshop.
Yeah, we were thinking about that as a show. So
were you really?
We'll have to go back to it.
No,
yes.
Not at all. No, talking shop is based on our wives. Like whenever you go to a party or go to a get together, she's like, "Oh, great, we're gonna go hang out and talk shop." So Mike and I said, perfect name for a podcast.
Right.
So that's what we're doing. So Carolyn, tell us about your educational journey. And how the seat you're at right now, how'd you get there? Kind of give us a little idea of that.
Okay, so I'm going into year 30 as an educator, and so I started in secondary. I was a junior high teacher. Then I came to Clay County, and I worked at the alternative school for 18 years. I was a self-contained teacher, and then I was a behavior specialist at the alternative school. And I never really had aspirations of being a school leader up until I would say probably year 17. I worked with an amazing leader who just saw something in me as a leader and just continued to encourage me. And then she just, encouraged me to go back to school. So I decided to do that. Never thinking I would be a principal. I always thought I'd be a great AP because, I like to hustle. I work hard. I have a great work ethic. I will be somebody's Robin, some Batman. I'll be their Robin. And, we'd be a great team. But I never had aspirations of being a principal. Then I spent my whole career in secondary. So the fact that I ended up in elementary was a total fluke. Back then we had these panel interviews for secondary and elementary, and I applied for the secondary interviews, didn't get one, and I had a friend who was on the panel for the elementary, and they were talking about people who got missed. And my friend said, well, Carolyn Hayward didn't get an interview. And they said, well, let's bring her in. And listen to me, I was the last interview on the last day. And when I walked in and I saw the faces, I was like, oh my gosh, this was going to be painful because, you could tell they were tired. And so I ended up, I knew something was going in the right direction when Dr. Emily Feltner, who had been sitting there, all of a sudden got engaged and started laughing. And then I was like, okay, now I'm rocking and rolling. But then for whatever reason, those are the elementary interviews. Then I got interviews with the elementary principals. After that, I made it into the pool. I think I was number 2 out of 40 behind Tyler Wood, which still
Nice.
burns my butt. But so then I went in and I interviewed with Tiffany Outman at one of the elementary schools, and she asked, one of her things was, come down here and do donuts with moms, or I think it was something like that. And so, and I found out later she was just wanted to see how I would interact with elementary kids. And so I guess I passed the test. And I think back then the district was deciding who went where. I interviewed at a couple other schools, and they decided that SBJ was it. And then I was mentored by Tiffany Outman for 2 years. Then I was moved from SBJ to Wilkinson Elementary, where it was a rough transition. A beloved assistant principal was not coming back, and there was some tension around that, and the faculty and staff were split. And here I come in, and I'm used to being at a very diverse school, and I came into a school that was 97% white at the time, and I was like, wait a minute, these are not my people. And I didn't feel like I fit. And then all of a sudden, after year one, year two came along, and I'm looking around and like, these are my people. I love them. And so I've been here for 8 years. I was the assistant principal here for 2.5, well, almost 3. I got promoted during when the COVID shutdown came in, because my principal got promoted. And this will be my 5th year as principal. So I can remember saying as an assistant principal, I love being an assistant principal. I don't ever want to be a principal. And now it's the best gig ever.
Absolutely. What was the toughest part, you think, of joining Wilkinson, coming in and having to replace someone that was beloved, having that split staff?
Yeah.
Tell us about what was the toughest part of that.
So I will say, not only was the staff split, but we had parents that had very strong feelings and felt, they weren't privy to all of the information as to why that decision was made. So they made their own judgments. And listen, I was bashed on social media relentlessly. I got accosted out in our bus loop by a parent. Several letters were written to the superintendent about me, about how I didn't belong here. The principal also took a beating at the time because of this little group of parents, and it was hard. It was hard, and I can remember telling my husband, "I'm on the first job out of here. They don't want me here. I don't fit here. I want out of here." And I do believe that God puts us at a place. God puts us where we're supposed to be when we're supposed to be there, and He didn't move me, and I knew I was supposed to be here, and I was supposed to plant here, and so I did. And one of the things that we did going into year 2 was that's when there was a big push for PBIS, and and I was all about PBIS because I worked at the alternative school where positive behavior interventions were at the forefront. So that was my gig. So I jumped all over that. And one of the things that we started doing, because I will say, it's a Title I school. There's a lot of poverty. There's a lot of drug addiction. There is a lot of needs out here. And a lot of parents had bad school experiences themselves, so they would come in ready for a fight. I can remember coming in the front office and having 2 or 3 parents ready, just screaming, yelling, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just got here. What's happening?
Let me get my coffee.
Right. And so one of the things that we started doing was making positive parent phone calls. So as our scholars earned their paw prints and they filled up their paw sheets for meeting our guidelines for success, they would come up to the front office. We would make them Facebook famous, because we were also navigating our social media and telling our story here, because we were sick and tired of the parents telling a story based on their perception of the divide. So we wanted to tell our own story. And listen, I will say this: I love social media. Social media is just a forte of mine. And so when I came here, they had very little social media presence other than the parents on all the local pages blasting the school.
The uncensored, unmedicated page.
Right,
But now
right.
you use social media to really drive the positivity of your school.
Oh, absolutely. We totally tell the story. And I will let you know that our parents, we let our parents know that that is not the forum for their complaints or their negativity, and that we will either delete their comments or we'll block them if that's a continued problem. And so that stopped. We don't have a whole lot of that, and I'll pick up the phone quick and call a parent and say, hey, listen, did you really mean to say that? Because that doesn't show our school in a very good light. And then they're always like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean it, I'll take it down. Okay, thanks. But to get back to the positive phone calls, we started making these positive phone calls and highlighting their children. And one of the things we made a point of saying in those calls was, Mr. Aftuck, I am so excited to talk to you about, your son is a new Wildcat 200 Club member. He's done X, Y, and Z. But, I just want to let you know that you are doing a great job at home because it shows here at school. And I'm telling you, by making that one little statement, those parents felt valued. They felt like I recognize that they're doing a good job. I had parents cry on the phone because they were just like, thank you so much. It's been so hard.
That was the first time they've been celebrated, probably.
Yeah.
Right. So once we started doing that, we really started seeing a shift in parents seeing themselves as partners and it wasn't a adversarial relationship anymore, on their part. They saw themselves as valued. We included them, we heard them, and we were respectful and honored them by recognizing their children. And let me tell you something, who doesn't want to hear that about their child? I remember the one phone call I got now I have 4 kids. One kid, I got a positive phone call from the junior high, and I'll never forget the words or the person that did it. And it really does make you feel so good when you hear that. I felt valued as a parent when I got that call.
Wait, was it Gabby?
Actually, it was not. No, you give
trying
me
to pit them against each other.
right. You give me positive reinforcement on Gabby, but no,
Gabby's
it
our
was Mikey.
trainer. Yeah, she's our trainer. That's all. She's an awesome kid. And she
Right.
works so hard. That's another thankless job, being an athletic trainer for kids. But, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. She recently got a raise, and I said it's about time Alan sees that, because at one point I'm telling her, look, you could be a teacher and make more money. Come on, Alan, do the right thing.
We'll send it to Alan after we're done.
Very true.
Right.
So talk to us about that Wildcat 200 Club. You kind of talked about how you use that, and then you made positive phone calls. So explain to us that Wildcat 200 and how you use PBIS to transform your school.
So, we use our guidelines for success, which are to be respectful, kind, responsible, and honest. And I am a firm believer in that my Wildcats need to hear my voice every morning. They need to connect with me. So I do those morning announcements every
100%.
morning. I remind them what the expectation is. I remind them that, about our guidelines for success, and we say the Wildcat Pledge together. And it is a time for me to connect with them and for them to, with 700 kids, it's hard to make those one-on-one connections all the time, as much as we try to do it on a regular basis. But at that moment in the morning, they hear me and they feel that connection. So that's where it started. And then we bring the teachers in on it. The teachers are rewarded for using the Wildcat 200 Club and passing out paw prints. So we recognize them as well. And then, it's a process. And once they fill fill up their pause sheet, they come up, they get a positive phone call, they're on Facebook, they get Facebook famous, and Lord knows if we forget to post a picture by 5 o'clock, we're getting messages like, where is it? So the parents love it, we love it, the kids love it, and that just celebrates them. And I will say that we have seen a reduction in referrals. The first year that we started this, we had a reduction in referrals of 70%. I mean, when I came to Wilkinson, we were the second highest elementary school with referrals, and I think we were at like 600 at that time a year, and we cut it by 70%. And it did take, a mind shift change with teachers and giving them other options as opposed to always writing a referral for certain things. We did a progressive discipline flow chart so they knew what should be classroom consequences and what should be office handled. And so, just getting them on board and letting them have a voice in what our discipline practice. Because here's the thing, a lot of people get PBIS confused with, oh, well, that means no consequences. That means that's instead of consequences. And I tell people quick, there is still a place for consequences. Let's be realistic. There are consequences for all of our behavior. And so it starts with children. So, although we focus on the positive and we focus on positive recognition and the teaching aspect behind what these things mean, what respectful means, what kind, responsible, honest, what all of those things mean. Because remember, you guys are seeing it as much as I am, that these lessons aren't happening in the home as much as they used to. So it's up to us to reinforce that and teach that here at school. I'll say, one of the things that I kind of laugh about, not really laugh about, but, little kids using choice words that they hear at home and really not knowing, when a second or, well, not a second grader, when a kindergartner or a first grader uses a racial slur, they don't know what it means. They really have just heard that from home. And so it's about teaching them that that is inappropriate and that is unacceptable. And we don't say that word here. And I'm going to tell you, 9 times out of the 10, they say, my mama says it, my daddy says it, or whatever. But we just teach them that that is not respectful and that is not kind. Now, it's a whole different ball game when it's a 6th grader. But when it's a little kid, we got to teach them that those words are not appropriate because they do hear them.
Yeah,
So
I love
it's
how you
not
tie
so
it back
much-
in. Yeah.
Yes. And again, it's not so much that it's punitive, but you are teaching the
Right.
students along the way. But you're letting them know that there is a place for punishment if needed.
Right.
As well.
Hey,
Absolutely.
we're in the middle of summer, so tell us as you're going into pre-planning and what does summer look like for a principal, an elementary school
Yes.
principal? Tell
So-
us what that looks like.
So it's a lot of planning. It's a lot of hiring, more than I'd like for it to be. You get those. Somebody told me way back when that you're always going to get that unexpected one in the summertime. And I hate that. But, yep, it happens, and we're hiring.
We talk
Yep,
about that. Like,
We got ours
you get the
yesterday.
text, hey, can we talk? Or someone
Right.
shows up in the office, like, oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the biggest thing, but also, purchasing, getting the things that we need once that budget opens up, buying the things it's here, having all of the things for the teachers. It used to make me so mad when we'd get our instructional materials in September. Okay, school starts in August. Okay, can we get our thing, and now, we have a system in place and we have people in place that doesn't happen anymore. But just making sure that our teachers have everything they need to start the year. And so that's purchasing, planning. I try to lock down the specialists for PD days when I can get them on the calendar and I can plan PD for the year, and so I know what's coming up and I'm not last minute trying to plan somebody or get somebody out here. I would say, planning for the opening. The opening is so important. It's where we set the tone for what the instructional vision of the school is, and so that's always real important. important to me, and I like a good guest speaker. So you know that, Mike.
Yes. I was very fortunate to speak at Wilkinson a few years ago to share the 180 Days of Joy, and Carolyn in Wilkinson Elementary School has taken that challenge and ran with it. So
Yeah.
it's so nice how iron sharpens iron, and I know that I can look on social media on any given day, see Middleburg High School, see Wilkinson Elementary School, see a number of other schools just posting and celebrating the excellent things. And that's what this platform is for. I am openly acquiring all of these great items. So if it looks like I'm writing and typing, it's because I am.
You'll see us writing the things down as we go. Yeah, so
absolutely.
It's cool.
So
and nobody and social media is so powerful because people don't know what you're doing unless you tell them, and they're going to take that narrative of what they think in their mind. Like we try and post something every single day, even during the summer. Like it's
Right,
So
and I
that's
just
what
love it.
this is reality.
Right. I just love it when the parents reshare it, and you know, it makes me so happy that they're involved in it as well.
So just very intentional. So just very powerful. So what's one pro tip that you would give a principal as we're getting ready for pre-planning week?
So here's one of the things that Tiffany Outman still says all the time that she used to say, and I didn't get it until I was sitting in this chair, and she always says it's going to be fine. And I'd be like, how are you going to say that? We don't have this, we don't have that, we have this position open, that position, you know, and she's like, it's going to be fine. And it always is fine. So no matter how you feel, it's going to be fine. It's, you know, and I've learned that you know, nobody's gonna die. It's not gonna be the end of the world. If you forget something, somebody's gonna send you a reminder. So you know, I just think that, you know, don't get worked up. Don't worry. It's gonna be fine.
That's such a great tip, especially for younger administrators. And I'll be honest with you, going into my 8th year as principal, that's something that I need to take heed of as well. I can tell you my custodians are probably thinking that after today.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you so much, Dr. Carolyn Hayward, for joining us. Again, this was an amazing show. You are such a powerful leader, an innovative leader. So thank you for sharing those ideas with us. Thank you for coming on this space with us. Again,
before we go though, Carolyn, it's Mike's birthday, right?
It is Mike's birthday. Shout out to my husband, Coach Mike. He is 60 years old today.
No
I feel like that gives away my age.
60
Yeah.
years young.
60 years young, and listen, I'm telling you, he works harder than anybody I know. So I think he's, you know, well, he's got like 4 jobs, so he's always working.
Well, happy birthday, Coach.
He's got a great family.
Oh,
Yes,
thank
he
you,
does.
appreciate that.
So
Thank-
again. Go
Oh,
ahead.
I was just going to say thank you for inviting me on. I appreciate being here. You know, it does. It's wonderful to be able to meet in these formats and to be able to share with each other. So I appreciate it, and you have made me feel very valued today.
Well, you're one of our first guests, so that tells you something, right?
Well,
And
thanks.
our goal was to ask the question, get out of your way and let you cook, and cook you did. So
Well, I
thank
appreciate it.
you just for sharing your knowledge, your expertise for everyone to hear. So again, today was Talking Shop, a conversation with educational leaders. My name is Mike Randolph. I'm the proud principal of Leesburg High School. I'm joined by my co-host Martin Avtuck, the proud principal of Middleburg High School. And again, huge shout out to Dr. Carolyn Hayward, the proud principal of Wilkinson Elementary School, for joining us today. So thank you all. Have a great day and keep planning for the start of a great 2024-25 school year. Go Jackets.
Go Broncos.
Go Wildcats.